I was muted that whole time. All right, let's try this again. So, you know what? I'm not. Hold, give me 1 second. All right, here we go. Very professional as always. Thank you for joining
Stop.
us. So today we have Carter from Locally Sourced. Say what's up to the good people out there.
What's going on, folks? How you guys doing tonight?
Yes. So let me continue my spiel that no one heard from a second ago. So in addition to live streams, this channel also does protest coverage, interviews, video essays, mini docs, and exposés. So if you want to see more from this channel, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to support this channel, give the stream a like and leave a comment below. So now, with all that out of the way, on with the show. So,
Let's do it.
what exactly got you into doing the content you do, specifically like deep dive, like docs, like the one that you sent me specifically?
Oh man. So I like backstory. I like studied video and sound in college. I did like verite style docs, and I like grew up in a household with like a political junkie mom, and she was a state rep here in New Hampshire for a period of time. um did old school orientation of districts before gerrymandering, and like so it was just like kind of always around me.
Mm.
And when I uh, did my time down in Boston, when my wife and I moved back up to New Hampshire, I was sort of like, I was working whatever, and that compilation of Sinclair owned like local news stations, when that there was like a compilation that went kind of viral, where it was like all these different newsrooms across the company and they're or country, and they're all like reading the same script.
Mm.
And I was just like, dude, what the fuck is this? And then it's like that paired with looking at just like my local newspaper was just like eating shit every fucking day. And then it's like conversely, I'm seeing like a lot of competition in the sort of new media sphere with video, where people are talking about national politics, and they're saying a whole lot of stuff that you literally never see on legacy media. And so I was like, all
Mm.
right, like why isn't why am I seeing no local content? You know what I mean? Like, why doesn't this exist? So it's kind of like, okay, cool, like I'll dive into it. Like the type of video that I studied, again, like verite style documentaries. So it was like I was already familiar with like a documentary style format. It was something that I was like accustomed to
Mm.
working in. So it's like, okay, like let's try and just like blend it out a little bit and do, it's like it's easy enough to sit in front of a screen and just have a conversation with people. And I've always just like I like having deep conversations with people. So that's something I just do. And then and so interviews naturally sort of spawned out of that. And then on the doc side, it's like I like digging deep onto like history and dialectics and sociology and political science and all that stuff. So with the more like deep dive content, that's usually the direction that I try to go in there. And then it's always nice to go out and fucking touch some grass. So I'll I'll go to
Mm.
like events and record videos and do like last minute edits of protest footage, or like I had a bunch of clips that just went up from a local listening session in town. um Really funny. We had a state rep that basically was asserting that John Kuiper wasn't a serious candidate, and I was like, makes him not serious, man. And so
Right.
that was a whole debacle. But that's basically the channel. A lot of the guests that I have on are mostly like I try to hit across the spectrum. I'm a big Majority Report fan. As as you are as well. We got the
Yeah.
same cedar wearing the sunglasses in the intro. So
Oh yeah.
but I really like the way that I really love their interview format. I think like the first half of the show, the free half, the very dry format
Hmm.
that they do, and the type of guests they bring in, I think it's a
Really
really
into the weeds
good
stuff.
model. Yeah, it's great stuff. And I was like, all right, we should be doing something like this, but in New Hampshire, and we should get maybe more long form content, keep it a little more out of pocket and casual, so that it doesn't just seem like people are just some weird other that you have a parasocial relationship with and make a whole bunch of judgments, like try to humanize them to a certain extent. So yeah, it's try to talk to like historians, activists, journalists, government workers, organizers, like the list goes on and on. And I got some pretty cool stuff in the works coming up.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. Um, all right, so your channel is locally sourced. Might I
Yep.
recommend suggested tagline 100% organic free range news?
That works, man. That's viable, dude.
No, I'm
That's
sorry.
fucking
I just
viable.
I'm a big branding guy. I grew up listening to like ICP and stuff, and they slapped their logo on everything. They were like the
Oh
'90s
yeah.
Grateful Dead of like the '90s hip hop stuff. But
Yeah,
right.
dude, definitely. It's so funny because I'm like a lot of times I'm just so like allergic to the marketing game. Like I just fucking hate that shit. I'm just like I
Oh,
like
see,
not
this
that
is
I
why we
don't
need to
know
work
it, right?
together,
Like
man.
yeah, we get dude, we gotta
Like I'm all about the
hit
marketing.
more
I love
collabs.
like
This is
stupid little like catchphrases and like, oh, here's like the little intros like they do on Colbert and shit. I'm super into that.
yeah, dude.
I'm easily entertained. I'm a
Slogan up. It's the way to go.
yeah. So how did you become aware of slash involved in this NH Talk stuff? It's like I've only recently become aware of this. I don't know if it's like super new and or if I'm just like, you know what I mean?
I mean, like it's kind of I kind of stumbled in it too, right? Like so back in August, I'd sort of taken a hiatus from doing the channel. And I just hit a point where I was like, no, like I gotta get back to this shit. And so I was like, well, like if like at that point I knew that the new sort of like meta, right, was to do like just we live in clip culture now. So it's like if you're doing any kind of long
Hmm.
form content, what you need to be doing is you need to be clipping it and you need to be putting it on like other platforms. I did not have a TikTok account until like I don't know, September or something like that.
Yeah, no, I
It
hear
was
you
just like
there.
I had just generally like not used that platform. I was like, that's not my scene. And I'm usually sort of like late to show up to like new platforms like that. But I was like, all right, you know what? Like I'll do this. I'll show up on TikTok, whatever. I start sort of posting like little clips or whatever from interviews that I was having. I think some of the first ones that I put up were with Colin Booth from Granite Post, which if for anybody that doesn't know, you should check out Granite Post. They do really good left-wing journalism in the state of
Hmm.
New Hampshire.
Yeah, I saw a lot
And
of stuff
Colin's a
from
really
them.
funny guy. Yeah, they're good. They're really good stuff. But as I was posting those clips, I just started seeing like, you just try to get like familiar with like the hashtags that everybody's using. And I saw NH Talk pop up and I used it once or twice just to like, I was like, oh, like I guess this is what people are doing. I saw like a couple videos that got recommended via algorithm to me that were like, oh yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay, like Ben Ming is here and he's a really great person, you know what I mean? So I was like, this is going to be probably like an audience that if I use this hashtag occasionally, and that just sort of brought more people from the new NH Talk sphere to me. I think they're always like looking for more people to pull in. It's a very like, you know, fun
Yeah,
group of
like
folks. Um and that was when I found the Discord. I like got in touch with Marissa and it just sort of snowballed from there. And I joined the Discord, started chatting. They're like, yeah, we're really happy to have you. I was like, really happy to be here. And yeah, it just kind of grew from there. And now I'm like a lot more aware of it, and it's been a really good networking opportunity. And they're just everybody's everywhere all the time. It's really cool.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's weird. Like I first learned about them from Instagram actually. That's like I had made a TikTok a
Yeah.
while ago, and I had just basically deleted it because I'm like I don't go on this ever. But I had to be reminded via a very helpful wife that I'm just trying to do social media stuff, so I need to actually be on social media to do that.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's tricky. I'm trying to like get my reels game up. I'm like
mhm.
because everybody's got different rules, right? Like TikTok doesn't like bar you from video length, but like Instagram is like the second you go over 3 minutes, they're like we're restricting your
Yeah,
content and visibility. So it's
it's like
like,
we're not going to show
and
this to anyone new.
it's Right. Yeah, exactly. So and you can tell like which videos that I've posted on the Instagram, like the locally sourced Instagram, they break that mark because the play
Right.
count becomes very obvious down the bottom corner.
So you just have to have like
But
a
it was
part
like
one, part two, part three, part four, part five.
right, yeah, yeah, exactly. And that gets to be a bit
A
of a
little
bitch too.
tedious, but you
But
know.
yeah. So, but it was funny because when I joined, this was sort of like pre the full like Ellison transfer of TikTok. So,
Yeah.
it was like I had like a good month or two where I wasn't like like, I mean, obviously they were really restricting any content related to Israel already. That was just sort of a thing that was happening.
Yeah, that was
But it
already a
got
thing they were kind of
fucking
appeasing the, anyway before then, right? Just
yeah,
trying to make it
it
so
got,
that
like,
like,
real draconian after that, you know what
mm,
I mean? And there's all this, like, dumb lingo, and I'm the type of person where I just, like, I don't hold my tongue. So, I'm like,
right.
"You know what? Like, if the algorithm wants to bury me, fucking fine, like, let's go." Like, the people that know will just show up to my page and watch the video anyways, like, they
Mm,
can't unless they, like, are banning me or sending me, like, a flag or something, like, whatever, I don't care.
yeah.
So I'm sort of antithetical to that, the whole, playing that algorithm game thing. Um, but it's like so and I probably had like the most success on that platform in terms of just growing the audience. But again, it's like I do really always want people to come back to the YouTube um and go there because that's where the long form content is. I'm
Yeah.
generally of the opinion that like the clip culture stuff is what contributes to brain rot. And it's like if you just looking at like a small clip, you're robbed of a lot of context, and there's usually
Right.
a much bigger conversation. So you should probably tune in for like, I don't know, like at least 6 minutes. um and so that's why I usually try to target like with those interviews that go for like an hour to an hour and a half, and it's like, and we cover a lot of shit, so that's where I always want people to like come back to. Because I think it's like use your whole brain. You've
Right.
got more than two brain cells that you can rub together, and you should try it because it feels good.
Mhm. I mean, and that's actually one like decent feature, at least for YouTube, is that they have the link to longer video, or the link to related video at the bottom of them, at least. So you can do like the full video you want, and then like, oh, like stick this little piece out into the algorithm and see if that attracts people, like a preview, kind of at this point. But none of
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
platforms I think are doing anything like that. It's usually just either lives or just like, oh, keep it under 3 minutes or we're gonna bury your shit.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, and then it's like, on TikTok, like once the live happens, like there's really no way to access it. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like, oh, I want to play it back. And like you can't unless you were participating in that live. And then you
Oh
only have
wow.
like you've got like something like 30 days or something like that to
Mm,
like go back and like access it and clip it
damn.
out. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, I mean the site
everybody's
seems
kind of got
kind
their
of bare bones to
problems.
me. That like as far as I've seen into it, I haven't even gone through that much, but it seems like pretty like simple. Like it's just like, yeah, like, oh, you just open it and then you immediately are like in it and like scrolling through shit as compared to like some
Yeah, I mean
other
it's
sites.
it, it's it's right up in your face, you know what I mean? Like it's very like in terms of just like delivering shit to you like
Mm,
right away. TikTok is really good for that. I mean, everybody has their problems, right? Like I think, it's like for me like the critique I have of Instagram is that sort of time limit where they're like, no, it has to be short and we want these to be sort of like double length vines or like my problem with YouTube is sort of like just the general likelihood that you're going to get DMCA'd or you're going to get like a
oh
copyright
yeah.
strike for playing some other shit. You know what I mean? Like
For
that
sure.
stuff pisses me off. With Twitch, it's like the mobile app is absolute trash. You know what I mean? So it's like then anytime I try to like do something like watch something on Twitch or whatever, it's like it just drains my phone battery at like 4 times the rate
Yeah.
that the other apps do. So it's like everybody's got their
Mhm.
issues. Nobody's like figured out how to do it perfectly. Um
Yeah.
and so it's like you just kind of like you got to adapt everything for every little piece of it, and it sucks because it's just like you have to know all this different shit about all these
Right.
different social media platforms. It's like, dude, I just want to make some fucking videos. Like, give me a
Seriously,
break.
like,
Like, I
like
want to.
whatever happened to just making stuff and then putting it up and then like, it's out there for people to see. Not it's just not how it
Yeah,
works anymore. It's ridiculous. I think though, like,
yeah.
is I haven't gotten too much into it, but Twitch, I think, is the one site that isn't pushing like the vertical streams at this point, and they actually will like let
No,
people see your stuff if you are streaming on there in like the regular 16:9 or whatever.
yeah, Twitch is actually really good for that kind of thing. They're sort of like their VOD setup is a little cooked because, like the streams expire. So there's only so much time that you'll be able to watch a full stream. You can't really go back and look at like a library of uploads. They do dump that on the long term. So if you want to see like specific stuff, it really has to be like deliberately clipped. And that shit has staying power. But Twitch has really good community building tools, right? Like I mean, I'd say community. There's no like community is a tricky thing online,
Yeah.
but it's a
And
sort
that's
of a
probably
spongy
another
term.
reason that, the your phone battery gets drained so much is because they basically like built in like what streamers like formatting already they were doing into the actual like
Right.
UI. And so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's like there isn't one that's really got it all locked up. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
but there's certain advantages and disadvantages to every single one of them, and then each of them has its own sort of like dedicated audience that's going to really like show up and be there for it. So it kind of in a lot of ways like choosing your platform kind of depends on like, well, what demographic do you want to hit? You know what I mean? Um like if I publish content on TikTok, I can basically like count on the fact that like my audience is going to be like 67 to like 70% millennial moms, like,
Yeah.
but if I come over to YouTube, it's like mostly like the breakdown is very different. Like I get like a lot more male viewers on YouTube. So it's it mixes up a little
Mhm.
bit, you know what I mean? And it really depends on who you're trying to reach. Like I think there's a lot of older people that will use YouTube just because they know it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
for
just because
sure.
it's
I'm
it's
an
been
older people, and
around
I
for a
definitely
minute.
that's my go-to. That's my
Right. Yeah,
cable
exactly.
TV at this point. Like a lot of us, growing up, they were like one of the first platforms and one of the only that stayed around. Not for lack of trying, but just because, Google bought YouTube and then YouTube bought everything else. So,
Right, right, exactly. So it's you're always kind of playing that game of like who am I trying to reach when I post something somewhere, you know what I
mm,
mean? Like if like dude, if I want to hit like if I really really want to hit the boomer crowd, then like dude just post that shit direct to Facebook. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
just
for
jam
sure.
that shit into Facebook. That's where they're at. That is
Uh-huh.
100% where the old people are at. You know what I mean? Um
Yeah, you get
but
something
it's like if you're trying to
in like a local group or two, you'll have like 1,000
yeah.
comments on those like, this is bullshit. Blah, blah,
Yeah, exactly. They flip
blah.
out, but
uh,
it's a cooked platform, but no, but
mm,
it's like if you're trying to reach like Gen Z or you're trying to reach millennials, like you're gonna have a much better shot doing that on a platform like Twitch or Instagram or
mm,
TikTok. You know what I mean? Like that's just where those folks are at, and then YouTube kind of blends it all together a little bit. I think they sort of hit a broader swath of folks, but again, it's like it really it's super dependent, you know what I mean?
right.
Like and there's like all the hashtags become factors too, and it's
Yeah,
yeah, it
and you got to
gets
figure out
fucking
which
messy.
platform like cares about that and which don't. Like literally, we were all told like you got to do hashtags, you got to do hashtags, and then you go to like
Right.
Instagram and it's like, hey, just doing hashtags is not going to make this appear to more people because I'm like, well, then what am I doing this for? Or like same with like
Right. Yeah,
YouTube,
exactly.
like literally not. I've entered a description on YouTube and like wrote a whole thing out and then done a live and like no people show up and then I don't do any of that. I put like some random clickbait title and then just start and then it's like, oh, everyone's in here. It's like, what the hell? This like the
Yeah.
algorithm sucks as an incentive and like I'm just glad that they
Oh,
we at least have this one
totally.
hashtag is actually working at this point for like being able to cut through that to see like what's actually going on in New Hampshire.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, NH Talk is good in that way that it can hit people, but it's like I mean, I also just have this like sort of like cooked in like allergy to to hashtags in general because um I like I my real first like exposure to all that shit was like early SoundCloud, right? Like,
Oh
because I
yeah,
was
yeah.
producing a ton of music and I was posting it all on SoundCloud before things got like real, like before like streaming was like music streaming was really popping off. This is like before Spotify was really like the behemoth that it is now.
Yep.
Um, back when SoundCloud was really like you could find like a ton of good stuff on there. And you were
Successor
corny
of
if you used
MySpace.
hashtags on on SoundCloud. SoundCloud was
Mm,
like the less hashtags you used, the better you looked. You know what I mean? Like and you also wanted to use like random weird obscure hashtags just to like look cool on the optics of it.
right.
So it was like anybody that was using like a whole bunch of like really traditional tryhards, like, oh, it's electronica, you know what I mean? Like you get fucking pwned,
Like
you know what I mean?
hashtag EDM,
So
hashtag electronica, hashtag,
yeah, 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 yeah. No, and you what you really should be putting is like hashtag Barbie core in all caps, and that's the
yes,
only tag.
exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
Just like
so
just make something up, just do a Mad Lib with it, just
yeah,
throw a couple nouns, maybe a verb, throw something in there, and
yeah,
you're all
yeah,
set.
yeah. Hashtag dead body and then post.
Yes,
Like
perfect.
yeah.
Oh shit, but yeah, again, like back to the stuff you've done. At least that one that I like had watched all the way through. It kind of like what I was saying before about it, like looking like a legit a documentary you'd see on TV. Honestly, it kind of reminded me of like like how much the news kind of sucks. Like how much the corporate news stretches things out. Like you pack so much information into that, but if like this type of thing was on like a 60 minutes or something, you'd have those like long panning slow shots, and then the announcer says, in this small town, this stuff is da da da
Right.
da 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 da. And it's like, dude, it's not how people consume stuff anymore. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's funny because like I right now I'm working on a new piece. And like I'm not gonna make any fucking promises when that shit's gonna come out because it takes these things take a minute in the oven, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can tell.
But I'm working on a new script right now about the Free State Project in New Hampshire.
Interesting.
And in order like it's like in order to do that, like I have to consume all of these different like I'm basically trying to be like, okay, I need to like ingest literally everything that's ever been written or published about this. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
have to like I like because what's the point in talking about it if I can't like if I say something that is wrong or meaningless, you know what I mean? Like
Right,
this
because that'll
it's
be the
it
one
would be
thing that
fucking
everyone
stupid.
jumps on you for. Be like, hey, he doesn't know what he's
Exactly.
talking about.
So
See, this is wrong right there.
right. So like I always come at it from like it has to be airtight, you know what I mean? And it has to be sort of like um whether you agree with me or disagree with me, you're not able to sit there and say that I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's like sort of
Yeah,
the like a lot of times the way I try to walk into making those pieces.
for sure. It's
And
presenting the
so it's
facts and then
like
giving your opinion on the facts that are there. Like you cannot
right,
dispute. Like this is what happened, and this is like my logic behind why I think this is being done according to all these facts,
right.
putting them together.
And I'm like and the other thing too is like while I'm very openly like a leftist, you know what I mean? Like I think like if somebody was gonna make a judgment call on like what the collection of my beliefs assembles to, like I think the label of socialist would probably fit me really well. Um but it's like even if that's the case, right? Like I can't I can't come in trying to like push that on people per se. Like I still have to follow a certain like
Mm,
journalistic rigor to the process. And it's like if something is true and doesn't necessarily jive with like what I want it to be, I have to go with what it is, not what I would prefer it to look
right.
like.
Like I think that this
So
system
it's
sucks, but it's working in this little particular instance here. So I'm not going to say that it's not working. basically.
Right. Like, so, it's like something that I've sort of run into is like a claim people will love to make about like free staters is like, oh, it's like it's a bunch of fucking right-wing pedophiles. And I'm like, man, as much as
Yeah.
as easy as it would be to say that, it's not actually true.
Right.
Almost unfortunately, because it would make it a
Yeah.
lot like
It's a little
simpler
bit
to
of a
undermine the fucking project, right?
bigger
Like,
tent than
but they
that.
just that's yeah, precisely. And so like what people forget is that like the Free State Project also encapsulates like a whole lot of sort of like Woodstock era hippies. You know what I mean? Like that
Right.
type
Like
of
the
like
old school
free love
libertarian.
and like right, exactly. Like I just want to live on out in the woods and like,
Mm,
like I don't want to hurt anybody. Like there's a lot of people that buy into libertarianism coming from that angle. I mean, I think like an interesting sort of like crossover or like analogy to that would be like looking at like the Maha movement, right? Like
mm.
the way that they managed to like it's like RFK managed to pull in all these weird hippie folks into this like what ended up being MAGA and like it's like you get this like strange crossover of like just
Honestly, yeah.
insane like misinformed beliefs
It-
and it's like and at that point you have to sort of remember that like what's the adage, it's like that which can be attributed to malice can be just as easily attributed to stupidity.
Yeah,
That
basically
might be
that
like a
there.
loose paraphrase of it, but essentially like it's like a lot of times I try to like apply Occam's razor to it and be like
Mhm.
most of the time people don't mean poorly, like they're not being malicious like
Right.
intentionally. They're just like woefully underinformed and incapable of projecting the outcomes of their actions in the long form.
Mhm.
So it's like that's like a really important part of the process for me when I approach like making those pieces. Where it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, look, like if I want to talk about the Free State Project, like I have to talk about libertarians. And if I want to talk about libertarians, then I need to talk about the Austrian school and I need to talk about trickle down economics. And I need like there's all this other shit that has to happen in order to explain like
Right.
what's going on. You know what I mean? Like you have to talk about sort of like the intersection of like strange interest in like
Mhm.
biotechnology and then Christianity and like
Yeah.
where that
You
overlap
can't
is.
assume that, like,
Like I mean like
anyone
how are
knows any one of the particular things that go into making, like, the overall thing, clearly. Like,
right. It's like there's a lot of meat in that sausage, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Um so it, it's tricky, you know.
Oh, yeah. I actually, have something put together that relates to that if you would like to check it out. Actually, it's something I had already pulled for this, so so I don't know, how many of you remember the whole thing about, Kristen Noble and, her comments she made a couple months ago?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. Um, so there's a little bit more information about her as well, but we're gonna do a little catch up and just for anyone that hasn't seen this, this is basically what the controversy was, why her name was in the news at first.
State Representative Kristen Noble of New Hampshire. So you're going to see some messages from her. So here is what the New Hampshire House Education Committee's chair, so that's her, said to group message with her colleagues. So Kristen Noble, when we have segregated schools, we can add all the fun stuff, LOL. Imagine the scores though if we had schools for them and some for us. Them and us. I wonder what she means.
Right.
Yeah.
So what could they mean by that?
Yeah. I
Now,
mean, yeah, go ahead. I'm curious to hear your takeaway on this.
I mean, the most generous way that you can put it is that by them, which they're trying to say is that they meant Democrats. Now, I don't know how many, if you like, so, some people have noticed, but a lot of times when the Republicans are talking back and forth to each other, Democrat is kind of like a shorthand for, black and brown people at some points. I don't know if anyone's ever seen this example out there, but if you know, but even if it wasn't like a racial thing, it would still be bad because it would be, the rich versus the poor class, spectrums. Like, so either way, that's pretty fucked up that you want to, send state funding to private schools and
Yeah.
segregate
I
people
mean,
by
like,
class. That's still, either
yeah.
way you put it, it's fucked.
Well, so it's like, I think, like, I was, look, I mean, for what it's worth, I always try to take people at face value. So I'm like, okay, you guys, you're saying that you want to do this on political lines, right? You want to do it on the lines of like, okay, we're gonna have schools for the children of the right wing conservative parents, and we're gonna have schools for the left wing, you know, children of left-wing parents or whatever, right? And that's like, now there's weird misconceptions about the idea of like public schools indoctrinate children into leftist ideas. Like
Yeah,
that's
it's so
not correct.
insane.
They're legally not allowed to do that, right? Like
Mhm.
that's the whole point of the way that public schools are set up is that you're not allowed, as a teacher, you are not allowed to advocate for the supremacy of one particular perspective or ideology, like
Mhm.
especially in the context of religion, right? Like
Right.
you
You're
can teach students about Islam, you can teach them about Buddhism, you can teach them about Judaism, you can teach them about Christianity, you can teach them about all of those different things. You cannot indicate at any point in time, like that
like,
legally,
this is the correct one.
you
All these are other ones are fake.
right, yeah, is like a public school teacher is not allowed to do that. So
Mhm.
there's fundamentally laws baked into the system that prevent indoctrination. What does happen in private religious schools is indoctrination, right? Because
Like, by
they
definition, yes.
teach, right, they teach their children like the gospel alongside whatever else they're teaching them as far as education is concerned. Now, like, this can extend within the context of private schools to people that are like, like, for example, like in my community we have a libertarian leaning private school, right? And so they are basically, they will sit there and they will basically tell you straight up, they'll be like, oh yeah, Marx is an idiot and he doesn't know what he's talking about and all of this is just completely bunk, whatever. Like, so they don't even let the children figure out on their own or make like any kind of choice or via actual critical thinking to reach a conclusion about whether or not something is right or wrong or good or bad or whatever, right? It's just,
Mhm.
it's simply that's the indoctrination part of it, right?
Exactly.
So so there's that component of it. So if it's like, if we take the segregating schools on a political lines thing, it's like, you the, the group of students that's receiving education freedom account funds, right?
Mhm.
That particular group of students, which our governor decided to remove the income cap on. So now at this point in time, you can be a billionaire, you straight up. And I mean, you like a lot of people that do get that money are millionaires, right? So
Mhm.
you're already seeing like a significant portion of very, very wealthy
Yeah.
families that have the time to or money to hire
Mhm.
somebody to do all the paperwork for them to get those funds from the government,
And it's
which takes
very
out of the pot that funds public schools. They're using that to send their kids to religious schools, which is
right.
actually a violation of the New Hampshire Constitution.
Mhm.
So it's like you're literally you're breaking the law in a couple different ways there. um
Yeah.
but the
And it's
but
real
they
interesting what
openly
they
tell
do
us,
care and don't care about means testing with as well.
right, right, exactly. And they've been very, very direct about the fact that like this is not the end goal. Their end goal is to just completely defund entirely public education. They like,
Right.
as on a as a point of principle, they don't want government to be responsible for education, which is in direct contravention of like very, very um very old historical context of people in the state of New Hampshire dating back like 200 years, um, actually advocating for the state to be more responsible for public education. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Now, if you want to talk about Kristen Noble, right? Kristen Noble specifically,
Mm.
she's one of the most highly rated Congress people, like state representatives, by this organization called the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. And they basically are the sort of like policy
Like the policy
organization
arm
that
of
sits,
the
yeah,
Free State
they sit
Project.
adjacent to the Free State Project. Yeah, exactly. The Free State Project is a 501c3, so they're legally prevented
Mm.
from doing any particular political advocacy. They can't run candidates. They can't do anything, right?
Right. So
They're
it's like a
specifically considered like an educational organization.
right, like a
Um,
PragerU.
so yeah, yeah, exactly. So but what does happen is that they have sort of these adjacent organizations like the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance that they have what it why am I'm blanking on it. It's like I think it's called like the gold standard or something like that. I'm trying to remember. Try and pull it up. What is it?
Oh, and we got some more of this clip after too. So get ready to throw all that
Yeah,
goodwill out the
yeah,
window. All that good faith talk.
yeah, it's called the gold standard. This is a thing that they issue
Mm.
every published weekly about bills that are coming up in the state of New Hampshire and the way in which you should vote on it. And then they look at the way that people voted, and they will determine based off of votes what your grade is, right? So so if you want to have a good idea of how many libertarians or free staters are sort of in control of the state house in New Hampshire, a great place to go is to go to the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance website and look at their grading of
Right.
every single member of the state house. This is publicly available information. So you can basically assume that anybody that has like a B plus or greater is quite likely, if not openly self-identifying as a free state libertarian, running by and large at this point in time, it's almost entirely in the Republican Party. That's how you can determine.
Yeah, they're not
what
running
percentage
as
of the state
independents
house.
or anything. They're running as Republicans.
No, and what's interesting is that when they first started coming into the state of New Hampshire, I think it was around like 2004, maybe 2006.
That sounds
Yeah, it
about
was
right from
right
what I've
around
read.
like Ron Paul's election.
Mm.
But the first free stater that ever got elected to the state house was a Democrat. And he was more of sort of like what people would consider to be like a left libertarian. Although that's sort of opening a can of worms with just like
Yeah.
the validity of the political compass and how that's not a real
Right.
thing. But that's sort of like
Doesn't want poor
something to
people to die in the
litigate for another
streets.
day.
Doesn't want the government to help with that. That's
Right. So, but I mean, the thing about it is like when you say something like, "Oh, we want to segregate the schools," right? Like they really get to like feel like it's sort of that like 4chan edgelord culture where it's like
they're trying to
like
double
it makes them
entendre, like,
feel,
oh, you know what we're saying.
yeah,
Hee tee
yeah,
hee.
oh, I didn't mean that. And then there's like plausible deniability that surrounds it or whatever. So it's like,
Right.
look, like I know that you guys are talking about basically segregating on political lines, but we also do understand that by choosing to use that word, you are virtue signaling to racists and white supremacists in a state that's over 90% white and predominantly Christian, where it's like, look, like if you're trying to build like a Christian ethno state, this is probably like, this is as good a place as any to try and lock that up.
I do hear that they say like New Hampshire is the perfect place for our project, and I don't see a lot of the reasons discussed publicly as to why that is the case. Like, what
Yeah, I
exactly
mean,
makes
so
New Hampshire this specific state? Like they need this one. Like we have to build our our project here.
so it kind of goes back to this piece that this guy Jason Sorens wrote in 2001, sort of like just before 9/11. And basically he was the original, like he lives in Amherst. He was originally the guy that sort of pitched the idea of the Free State Project. And he basically said, like, we should identify a state that is sort of best set up for liberty, right? And so one of the main, like a few of the main reasons they chose New Hampshire was specifically because of the low bar of entry to get into the state house. We have I believe it's the second or third largest legislature in the Western world, like literally
Oh
underneath
wow.
the U.S. House of Representatives. We have 400 members in our state house, so we're massive. And so that keeps the district small, which means it's easy to run a local race,
Mm,
right? The amount of money that you need to sink into that race is a lot less. There's very low pay
right.
for the state house, right? We
Yeah,
really
yeah, no,
don't
that's all,
pay
it
our
all adds up.
legislators at all. It's $100 a year.
Hmm.
Um, and then also there's the pledge, right? The which goes back to, I believe it was Mel Thompson, who was a governor. I can't remember what years off the top of my head, but he basically was like, I pledge to never institute a sales tax, and I pledge to never institute an income tax. It's going to be property tax only. So it was like, from the Free Staters' perspective, they were like, oh, this is a state that's already primed to be very anti-taxation. And
Mm.
they made it very easy to get into the state house, right? It's like,
Like
like they
no new
loved the
taxes,
motto. They
this and
loved the
that.
whole, yeah, exactly. They love live free or die, right? It
Right.
was like, it sort of checked a lot of the aesthetic boxes and a lot of the function boxes that they were looking for when they were trying to identify a state.
So
It's
are they
small, it's close
specifically
to
an offshoot of
Canada.
like the Tea Party? Or is that just like it happened to be coincidentally around the same time?
So that was sort of like, that happened in conjunction. And it's not really, it's hard to say that there's
Not
like a
exactly
direct
clear.
correlation. I think there's a lot of sort of like right leaning free staters that would absolutely say that they are like very pro pro Tea Party. I think that's like, it's a big part of it. But there's, again, it's like, when you're trying to talk about the Free State Project, there's a lot of sort of weird things that sort of hit in tangent, but don't necessarily run through or together or parallel. And that's what makes it really murky, because to create direct ties is incredibly challenging when you're trying to sort of
Mm.
tease that out. So yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. And
Okay.
and then and then it comes down to, like, it's a small state, you know what I mean? It's like, it's easy to
Yeah,
travel
for
throughout it.
sure. Because I've
We have a
driven up
border
and
with
down.
Canada. We have a little bit of coastline, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it hits a lot of just things that they would like, especially because there's a big appetite for secession in the Free State movement, right? And
Yeah,
that's
which is
something
kind
that
of
they
wild
debate
because we're the
internally
we're the
quite a bit.
North.
Yeah.
I thought what was
Right. Yeah,
they're gonna take New Hampshire and
they were
they're gonna whoop, drag the whole
Oh
thing
my
on
God,
down,
yeah.
stick next to Florida.
Yeah, it's wonky. And I think, yeah, I do think the size was another factor, that they were like, oh, this is, they had been really looking at, like, maybe, like, at best they were getting like 5% for, like, voting in races around the country. It's like they really were finding it very difficult
Mm.
to sort of break in as a viable third party option. And I mean, to a certain degree, I think part of that is just like the closeness that they have with the Republican Party.
Right. It's like you
And
might
so they
as
were
well.
looking for yeah, exactly. So they were looking for a way to sort of like move the goalposts. and you know, it's like all of these different factors made New Hampshire very attractive to that movement, and that was what caused the online community that was discussing this post Soren's essay to actually lock in and decide this is where we're going to go, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense because, yeah, I've driven up and down New Hampshire in like around election time. There's a million different political signs. There's always like 10 of them specific like to each different town you drive through, and if there's like
Yeah.
one or two people's names like per category on a thing that you're going to vote for, then like oh, I guess I don't know this guy out of the two, why not?
Right.
Like it's yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense about all the tiny districts and everything. So yeah.
Yeah. I think other states they were looking at were like Montana and, you know, like, so it's like when you have those sort of other states to see that they were looking at and like aesthetically and like it becomes very obvious why New Hampshire was their choice. But it's, you know, like it's sort of like it's close to major hubs like Boston. You're not that far away from New York. You know what I mean? Like there's all of these sort of like access points that make it useful
Mhm.
in that way.
Yeah, that does make sense. So let me go back to this other clip real quick. I believe the next part of this was the Republican Party's reaction to the whole text thing going down.
Noble released a statement indicating she was talking about separating schools between Democrats and Republicans and asserting that schools run by Democrats would have lower test scores.
All right, there's a little bit of a dog whistle, it seems like, but we'll continue here.
Yeah.
Democrats that
Yeah, and
might
actually
have low test scores.
there's not to my understanding, I don't have it right in front of me, but and to my understanding a lot of that whole business about test scores is not actually completely true. When it comes to certain specific areas that might be true. If you're talking about like math scores, you might see that the some of the private schools have higher test higher, but that's not if you're talking
Smaller
about
class sizes
general.
and the ability to tutor people
Yeah,
and those specific like
right.
non like scientific that anything
Yeah,
that doesn't
exactly. It's
intersect
like when
with
you
religion, then they're going to have a better education at a private school because they have smaller class
right.
sizes. You know, they're able to tutor kids basically.
Right, but when you start getting into other areas, like you're trying to talk about sort of like the broader social studies,
Mhm.
that gets a little bit squishier for
And
them,
that's where it starts going
because they're,
through the
you know,
lens of like this particular point of view and like this particular political, the Billy Graham, views.
right, exactly. And I mean, and they love to point to statistics about like, oh, like, you know, New Hampshire is number one for this or that or the other thing. And what people don't talk about a lot of times is the inherent bias or the metrics that are utilized to generate those rankings. And so when the moment you actually start to like really dig into like, well, okay, how did they reach the conclusion that New Hampshire is ranked this high, right? It becomes obvious that it's like it it's kind of based off of like a really like shifty foundation.
Mm.
You know, they'll talk about like New Hampshire. I was like US News and World Report or something like that. I think they rank New Hampshire really high. And particularly talk about it being one of the most educated states. And their metric for that is uh attainment of higher education, right? They don't use
Mm.
graduation rates from high school as a means to measure that. They don't, you know, what they do is they measure the amount of people that have a college degree. But that
Mm.
doesn't account for the fact that a significant portion of people, like I was just talking to Jessica Williams from New Hampshire Fiscal Policy Institute, and she was explaining that essentially by and large, the the way that there is any to the degree that there is any population growth in the state of New Hampshire, it's wealthier older people
moving, yeah.
from outside of New Hampshire into New
And
Hampshire. So those are, you're talking about people that already have a college
Right.
degree that they
And
got probably in another part of the country and then moved here later, right? They made all their money somewhere else and they moved here. So the people love to talk about, oh, the prosperity and the educational integrity of the state of New Hampshire. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't actually talk
that's not
about
public schools.
how it is in state, right?
That's
Yeah,
the problem
right,
there.
exactly.
Like that's like we're
Exactly.
like when you think of people talking overall education, you think of like what is going into actual public schools. Like what are the kids learning? Not like, okay, like what am I as an adult spending money in order to get an education for? Like if colleges there was free options still, then maybe that would be more like of a metric that you could use. But it just doesn't really make sense to me to even talk about anything but like public schooling when it comes to like some of that stuff. At least it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think, to an extent, like these folks really rely on the fact that nobody tries to like not a lot of people try to look at it any deeper
Right.
than whatever they see in the tweet. You know what I mean? Like they don't try
It's
to
like
drill
according to
down
the
and like
survey.
inspect. Right. Like they count on the fact that it's like the whatever's behind that data is sort of hidden and you have to try to actually figure it out. And then because that's just a layer of challenge that people don't want to interact with, that ultimately it gets lost in the sauce.
Mm.
And so I mean that's why it's like I do my best to try and like this is why I value like digging deeper a little harder and trying to like
Yeah.
then bring that back into like a 15, 20, 30-minute video.
Right. It's just asking
Because
the
it's
like, well,
like
why
this
is it like this? Like, what's
right.
what's behind what's the methodology of this? Can we like trust that that is correct? Like, what is going on in this section? And like, who said this? And yeah.
Yeah, so you just end up having to spend like a whole bunch of time debunking bullshit, and then it's like, and that's frustrating because it takes a significant amount more like work, like it just in terms of time, in terms of like using your whole fucking brain
Mhm.
to like just figure out why it's wrong. It's so much easier to just say some nonsense and then put it out there, and then everybody eats it up because they're so addicted to short form like on demand content.
Right.
So and that's like it's all sort of connected, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Indeed, I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what else we got left on here. We got a little bit more.
K through 12 education and even higher education is not simply about curriculum. It's not simply about the academy or academics. It's also about learning how to be a decent human being.
I didn't go to college myself.
No.
And they'll love that I'm sitting on the education committee and I don't, and they don't know that, but now they will.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Just like a weird thing to admit over the internet on somebody's like camera trained at you.
Yeah, I mean, like
I feel like you should be
everybody
maybe like an educator to get in a position where you are overseeing education, but I myself have not gone to college, but I wouldn't apply for the position.
right, and that's the thing is that there's and this is what I mean about a low bar of entry to become a representative, right? Is it there is no fucking prerequisite,
Yeah.
like aside from like you had to live in the state, like to be a rep, or to be a senator, right? There's like you don't need any kind of education to actually get those seats because the way you get them is by people voting for you. And I think for people that are more sort of like liberally minded or progressively minded, that's what you just said is exactly their analysis, where it's like, look, like I don't know enough about this to do this. I really feel like I need to know more if I want to like step into that arena. And it's like, dude, like you probably know more than people that are elected right now. You know what I mean? Like there's a high
Yeah,
likelihood
it's
that just in your day-to-day life, you have more education, you have more awareness, you have more context, and therefore viability to actually govern, you know what I mean,
yeah,
than
and
the people that are doing this.
it's the thing that
And
people have
what's
been
frustrating,
become comfortable in becoming like confidently like wrong about things. And if I was wrong or I said something, then fuck it, we're moving forward. Who cares?
right, right, exactly. So, and I think that's something that's being exploited right now. It's something that I think just regular average people need, that are again sort of like, and dude, I don't want to advocate for centrists, like center libs, to be
Yeah,
fucking running for, like, I don't want to do that shit. But it's like, dude, if you're at least conscious of the fact that like people can't like afford their property taxes, or they can't afford their rent, you know what I mean? Like, okay, like you might be a better choice, you know what I mean? Like, I
right.
mean, there's debate. It's like, well, if you buy into the whole pledge thing, which like literally Alexis Simpson, the fucking lead Democrat in the state house, she's completely bought into the pledge.
Hmm.
The Democrats have essentially said, no, we're not going to entertain anything, any new type of broad-based taxation. There's a lot of backlash right now for Andrew Volinsky's 3-3 tax affordability plan, which proposes, essentially it proposes a 3% income tax, um, and a, what is it, like 3% property tax. So for to fund education. And what people miss about that is that there's very specific carve outs that exist within that. Um, Both property owners and renters will get rebates. So
Hmm.
like I think it's like up to $750 per rental household gets like you get $750 that you can use to spend back towards your fucking rent.
Right.
Um and then additionally, if you are like you for an individual, right? Never mind families, right? Like we'll set aside families for a second. Let's use just like an individual. You don't get taxed on the first like 38,000 that you make,
Yeah. No,
right? So like if you're like technically a poor person, this won't ever touch you in the first place. Now the main line of attack against something like that is like, oh well, this is going to hurt working class families, and that's just categorically bullshit.
mm,
It doesn't. If you are a family, it doesn't hit you until you hit the median income in the state, which is 99K to
right.
the household,
And that's like
right?
the people
That's
being
like,
against like the billionaires tax. It's like you can make up to 999, but after that that's a 100% tax. Give me that. People that
right,
forget that
and
it,
it's
it
like,
costs money to run things because they don't see that the politicians that they elect actually doing things that help them with their tax dollars. So they're like, you know what? No, like don't you're not touching my tax dollars. I'm going to spend it better than you are. So and that's the whole problem
right.
that I think we're facing.
And the other thing that people forget too when it comes to specifically an income tax, right? And this doesn't apply to a sales tax, but when you're talking about an income tax, that is actually a wealth tax. Everybody gets all twisted up about this, right? But because they hear the word income and they're like, "You're taking my paycheck, man!" Like
Mm,
you get really fucking up in arms about this shit. Nobody ever fucking thinks past the first like you know 3 inches of the idea. Um,
yeah, like there can be
Realistically, it's
stipulations
like,
put in there.
right, realistically, if let's say it was flat, right? Let's say there wasn't any carve out to basically just to keep anybody that's making under a certain amount, like you're making less than $38,000, you don't get touched by it as an individual, right? Let's say that didn't exist. um the the thing about it is like, okay, if I'm making 20,000 and I pay 3% of that 20,000, I am paying less dollars. I'm paying proportionally, like it's just 3% of that, right? As opposed to somebody who's making 200K. they are now paying equally in relation to what they earn as to what I earn. But I am not being punished by that tax, right? In the same I'm not my wallet is not hurting in the same way. Now let's compare that to a sales tax, right? If you put a sales tax on an item, right? You say, oh, I'm going to put 3% sales tax on like a carton of milk, right? If I then have $20,000 and this other person has $200,000, who's that carton of milk going to hurt more with that 3% tax? It's going to hurt me at the 20K, because that 3% is a notably larger portion of the available money that I have.
Right.
To pay for anything, whereas the person with 200,000. So the richer you are, the more appealing a regressive sales tax is, because you're basically downshifting the cost onto poorer people. They have to pay a larger portion of what they make in order to pay for the taxes. Income tax doesn't work like that. That's why it's called a progressive tax as opposed to a regressive tax. And property taxes and sales taxes are categorically regressive taxes. So people can bitch and moan about how I want no taxation. It's like, all right, what? So you're gonna expect that like private companies are gonna cover fire departments? Yeah, why don't you go ask New York City how that worked out for them? You know what I mean? Like when you literally had fire brigades fighting with each other in the street while the building in front of them burned to the fucking ground. You had two different fire crews standing there having a fucking fist fight, letting like neither of them doing their jobs, and then a whole tenant of people lost their home. Right. So when you're talking about like, oh well, I want to privatize everything, it's like, well, that's what you're asking for. That's ultimately what you're asking for. So the idea that you can exist in a society that doesn't tax is fucking preposterous. You can't do that. So then the question becomes, well, okay, well, how do you tax fairly? It's like, well, you do it based on proportion, right? So like and if you don't want to punish people, you want to actually genuinely create upward mobility. You want to, even to a point, foster a capitalist idea of the fucking like the American dream or whatever. Wouldn't it make sense to like put more money in the hands of the lower classes?
Right.
And by doing so, if you're still taxing people, you might as well make it so that it's a progressive tax, so that the poorer people pay a lower amount of money, because they don't even fucking have it in the first place. It's ridiculous.
It's the poorer people in the economy that keep it moving, because they're the ones that have to spend their money. The richer you get, the less you actually have to spend in cash.
Right. It's just insane. You know what I mean? Like, and this is how we end up with fucking wealth consolidation greater than the Gilded Age or greater than the French Renaissance, right? This is we are in a worse situation right now than either of those two previous scenarios. And you know what happened in those
Crazy
scenarios?
to think about.
Fucking bloodshed. Literally bloodshed. So it's like, but we're all treatlerites, you know what I mean? We're so fucking addicted to our Oreos and our fucking smartphones or whatever that it's like,
we need our treats.
As long as I can keep getting my shit, then it's who cares, you know what I mean? Oh, like I'll, as long as I can play that new video game, you know what I mean? Then it's fine. I'll just bet my life away on fucking Polymarket or Kalshi.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I think there is a little bit left of this here. What do we got? Oh man.
So the Republican office emailed.
What was that?
I'm just sorry for like trampling all over your clips, man. I'm like going on these huge rants about fucking taxes.
No, that was good stuff. No, that's accurate. Yeah, it's very. You can describe things better than I can, and that's definitely what I'm looking for here. More on this show, when other people can start talking about things in a more articulate manner than I can, and I can just be like, that right there. That's what I would say if I had, if I could say it right now, I would have said it that way. Yes, correct. But there's a little bit more here. Let's check the rest. Or not.
A press release on her behalf that said, quote, "It's funny." That's the first. It's funny to watch the Democrats feign outrage when I thought they'd be supportive of managing their own schools with libraries full of porn, biological males and girls sports, and bathrooms, and as much DEI curriculum as their hearts desire.
Which, we got to point out that's not a thing that only exists as a concept for corporate arenas, not for schooling, and certainly not for like children's school. So
Yeah, that's just like it's just fundamentally not how it fucking works. You know what I mean? Like it's so and what I love about this, what I absolutely love about this is like the is like okay, the left got accused of all the culture war shit, right? You
mhm.
tell me this isn't tell me this doesn't fall into culture war territory, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah. No, all they want to
it's
talk about
totally
is that.
fine for them to
Yeah.
do it. They've been
Exactly.
begging for this. They've been aching for their opportunity to do culture war shit in the reverse. And it's rich. I mean, like, but hypocrisy doesn't really like actually convince people of much, right? Like, um,
Mm.
unfortunately, um, telling people what you hate is not as good of a motivator as telling people what you can do for them, right? This falls into
Right.
the whole like carrot and stick analogy, right? Like
Mm.
where and I mean, and this is why Mom Donnie just fucking cleaned house in New York City, was because the dude was like, look, like I'm gonna fix your problems, man. Like, and now they fixed like over
Literally.
100,000 potholes, you know what I mean?
Uh.
Like um it's like
It's like, yeah, I'm not coming
if you
here to
actually
just run like the Democrats of the city. Like that's not what, I'm
right.
here to fix everybody's problems. Like everybody has these annoying things that they don't like, or you want to see like the bus system improved, like get free busing. Like that's another thing too. Is like people were always they were wondering why Trump and Mamdani you know, got along together, and I'm like, well, first of all, it's because Trump is definitely bi and he likes powerful guys. That's number one. um,
Yeah.
and he's like a very good-looking man, very confident young lad. A lot of people like him. And the reason number two was because you can be a capitalist and still work with like progressive and leftist like ideas. For example, the busing thing. Like you make buses free. More people can get
Yeah.
across town to their jobs. They can get across town to go buy things at places. That more
Right.
income
Right.
circulating in the city. Like that'll make up
Right.
for
It
like
literally
whatever you're
fucking
paying for
stimulates
it.
the economy, dude.
Literally.
Like
So like
it's not
if you
it's not
present
hard.
things like that to Trump, like as I'm sure he did, be like, "Oh, this will be really good for the economy. It's going to boost sales downtown. Blah blah blah, this and that." And that's how you get. He got him to like, be cordial with him and agree with him on certain things. Like, but I don't know where
I mean,
that point was going, but that's
I mean, Trump's always going for like the fucking I love central casting. You know what I mean? Like he's
right.
like, and it's funny, man, because
Very
like
handsome man.
I there's a really funny creator that I've seen online. It's like this very very like he's like he's this gay guy that's really does a great job, and like his videos are simply just him lip syncing to Donald Trump statements, but he's doing it in the most like queenish way possible, and it's like so exemplary of the fact that like Donald Trump is like the most peak drag queen that
Oh yeah.
has ever lived, and I think his true calling was just to be like like a theater bitch, you know what I
Right.
mean, that just like stood there and just like
Yeah, he's
went
so
off,
fucking
right? And I
sassy.
say this as somebody who did theater for a long time, right? Like, so I don't want anyone to think that I'm throwing shade, right? Like I genuinely appreciate that particular art and expression, but
Yeah, you're gonna get
that
Chalamet
was the dude's
canceled. You're
true
done.
calling. Yeah, exactly. But that was his true fucking calling, and he missed his fucking boat. So now he's trying to pull an Adolf because he got rejected from the art scene and wants to be a fucking political leader. So you set that all
Exactly.
aside for a second. Like the thing that I think is funny though is that like to get back to the sort of like the utter miserable failure of Democrats on this particular area is that they cannot bring themselves to give people something to fucking vote for, and they just
Yep.
like hold that stupid fucking James Carville line of just like
Like, oh, let him.
play dead, do nothing, win.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's like all you have to do is just coast into majority by nothing, no virtue other than how awful Trump is. And it's like, that doesn't fucking motivate people, dude. Like,
Right.
if that was a motivator, then Kamala Harris would have fucking won the general election. We wouldn't be where we are right now if that was true. So like, you're literally proven wrong multiple times throughout history, and now you're telling us to fucking buy the same, like, just rotten bag of goods again. Like, no. We're not that stupid, dude.
Yeah, literally. Like, it's just, and that, just Democrats need to just fire all consultants. They don't know shit. They're talking out of their ass. Stop saying to keep going right. That's not what people. Nobody wants MAGA light. We're all set with that. Like, just like literally look at like the popular people like Mamdani and all these like smaller candidates. Freaking like what their policy proposals are and how like people are really fucking supporting that. And I
Right.
just I don't
Well,
get like how they can't fucking just like pull their own voters and like 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 where are they getting this from? Like, oh, we need to hate on trans people more. We need to do like fucking we need to agree with them on the border. Like yeah, ICE is great actually. Like we should give them more funding. It's like what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
well, I mean, I mean, in large part, it's because like they all take money from the same fucking people, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
that is a big
when you've
thing.
got something like Citizens United that exists, where like it basically makes it possible for fucking super PACs to be a thing, where you can essentially just fucking hide money,
Mhm.
and you can have incredibly wealthy people donate to those, which basically lets them avoid the campaign donation caps that exist. It means that any politician becomes subservient to their donor class, because the donor class can come along and basically say like, look, like we'll just buy out all the ad slots, we'll snow the public into believing that the only people who are electable are the people that have the money. And then
Right.
consequently, that it's sort of it's a prophecy that fulfills itself. And so it's like, and then they literally, none of them are working for the people anymore, and that's how you end up with a fucking uniparty like what we have right now, where you literally have like idiot morons on fucking the Bulwark podcast who literally joined the Democratic Party like fucking yesterday, and all of a sudden they're like, oh well, let me tell you what it takes for the Democratic Party to win. What we need is we need more Liz Cheney's campaigning on the trail with the presidential candidates. Like, you shut the fuck up, you just
Yeah.
got here 20 minutes ago. Like, you don't know
Ugh.
anything about this. And like, if you guys want to keep punching left, watch, you'll never win again. And like, and that's exactly why the Democratic Party is like facing a complete and utter demise that they earned. You know what I mean? Like they
Right.
fucking, they earned that shit. You know what I mean? And the only literally the only reason that you have sort of like um the Mikey Sherrills and the Abigail Spanbergers and stuff like that is because that's the closest that you would get to people believing in the Democratic brand, except the problem with that is that like they're literally fucking CIA agents, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like we're just like, what are we doing, guys? Like, you know what I mean? And it's they're preying on people's hopelessness, you know what I mean? And what they don't, what they're only able to look a couple feet in front of them when it comes to these issues, and what they don't realize is that doing that exact thing is just going to simply reproduce the exact conditions that led to Trump, except it's going to be worse next time because it's going to be fucking Tucker Carlson. You know what I mean? And that guy
Yeah,
is
for sure.
way more articulate than Trump ever will be. He's way smarter than Trump ever will be.
Oh, for
And then
sure.
you're going to get
Nobody wants a
real
Gavin
doomed
Newsom.
fascism. Right.
0%
So,
people. No one wants a Hillary.
right. And so, and really, like, from my best analysis on it is, I'm like, the voters need to actually hit a point where they're like, you know what, like, I'm going to tune all of the electability argument stuff out. Like, I'm going to
100%.
just stop paying attention to all that. I'm gonna actually like take maybe fucking 20 minutes on a Sunday morning while I'm drinking my coffee, and I'm just going to quickly look up the candidates that are running. You know what I mean? Like, like it doesn't,
Right.
it's not even that hard, right? You can just do a quick Google. It's like, who's running for Congress in my area, right? You'll get a list of names. All you then have to do is go to their campaign websites and read their policy.
Mhm.
That's all you have to do. That's
And if they
enough.
don't
And
have
the
any
second
there,
you
that
have
is a
that
bad
degree
sign.
of right, and it's like once you're even that just that informed, just that
Mhm.
much, it doesn't matter how much money they fucking spend, right?
Right.
Because you have just inoculated yourself to those ad spends. Like
Exactly.
you have gotten yourself out of the pipeline that they are demanding that you exist in. So all you have to do is find that information yourself through very, very basic mechanisms, right? You don't have to be incredibly intelligent. You don't have to have gone to college. You don't have like whatever, right? Like shit, people with a fucking GED can figure that out. Like it's like I'm fully of the belief that like you should never blame the constituency, right? You should never blame people. And I think people are a lot more intelligent than we give them credit for. Even when they're being stupid, they still are more intelligent than we give them credit for. And so
Right.
like and just those basic actions are enough to resonate with people to a point where they're like, wait a minute, like this person, this like so-called like lefty candidate or whatever, this progressive candidate is actually saying a whole bunch of things that, like I know and experience as pain points in my life every single fucking day. And like if at that point you're able to connect the fact that the things that this person is advocating for changing are the things that you personally are interested in seeing changed, that's all that matters. That's it. That's all there is to it. So it's, and this is why just like even just basic levels of education or voter outreach are important, to be like, look, like I'm not even trying to sell you on somebody. I'm just asking you to make it, like just try and make a more informed decision because I
Yeah.
trust you and I believe in you and I know you have the
Right.
power to do that. Right? Like empowering people is the best way to get people to a better position.
Yeah, true. Just being like, well, like, yeah. And nothing to add. No points there. True. Well, god damn. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty good stuff. Oh my god.
We're
All
ripping,
right.
dude.
All right, we're
What else you got?
gonna do a little bit more of this. It's almost over. It's 2.5 minutes. We're almost there. Hold on.
I
Schools
know,
like
man. I'm
that
just
will
fucking
have
burning.
terrible test scores because they focus on social
Volume.
issues, justice, rather than academics. Another quote: Republicans have been self-segregating out of the leftist indoctrination centers for decades. If Democrats had their own schools and we had our own, families would need to avail themselves of the wildly successful Education Freedom Account program. It's a win-win proposition.
And we already kind of talked about this, so let's just wait for this next part. Hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, this is propaganda right here.
I think I'm a lot smarter with political strategy and just being able to sit back and watch people make mistakes.
Right. I just thought that was good. It's the
Man.
overconfidence, man. It's like we need more people that are not confidently right than we do more people that are confidently wrong. And like those are the people that are actually questioning, like, oh, am I doing this right? Is this good? Like you were saying, we need us out there. Damn it.
Like the way I think about it is like this, right? Every fucking dumbass that I've ever met loves to tell me about how fucking right they are and how much they know and how smart they are and how intelligent they are. And every intelligent person that I've ever met, every like truly smart, like learned person that I've ever met tells me about how much more they have to learn, how
Right.
little they know. So like that's it right there. That's your fucking indicator. The second you hear someone talking about how fucking smart they are, it probably means they're fucking stupid. And you should probably stop listening to them. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I always tell people, like, because like I aspirationally want to be intelligent, right?
Right.
Like that's like a goal of mine is to be like a smart person. And I am
But first you must
confronted
slay
every
the
single
dragon.
fucking day. Right. I'm confronted every single day with the fact that I'm like a literal fucking dumbass about like so many things. Like I'm always reminded of how little I still know. Right? Like I'm sorry. And none of these people went to college and got, like, she literally said, I didn't go to college. It's like, okay, so what, by what credentialing do you know fucking anything about history or sociology or science or mathematics or political science or like what is it? So you just do it all on fucking vibes?
Yeah,
You're
basically.
just some sort of fucking savant and we're supposed to believe you?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like show receipts, lady. What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty much like they just like that. I think I know what's best, and that's it. Just trust me, bro. I guess that's pretty much
What's
there.
your
We're just
evidence?
running
Trust
on
me, bro.
Trump vibes. I guess I don't know. Trust me, bro. I know what I'm doing. Why do you feel so confident in invading Iran? Oh, I got a feeling. Like okay,
Yeah. Oh, just
all right.
Venezuela worked out great. So I
Yeah,
mean, so you just copy
exactly.
paste
Yeah,
and it's all good, right? It's not like
exactly.
Venezuela and Iran
Nothing
are
wrong.
have any differences between them whatsoever.
Yeah, a little
Like
island nation versus like a country the size of
versus
like
a completely
know
entrenched
90
mountainous region
million
that's like
people.
significantly larger and has spent
Oh
the
yeah,
past fucking 40 years preparing to fight us.
yeah, and that's the thing.
Like
Like their whole entire fucking defense capabilities are built around being able to defend against the fucking U.S. But you
right.
know,
Like
the
dude, like
number one state sponsor of terror, which no one ever cares to explain that one, which oh, it's because of all their proxies, this and that. Like, I would argue that the
and dude,
U.S. and or Israel are much more bigger sponsors of state terror, seeing as like this state is sponsoring Israel to commit a genocide. There is that.
well, look, like history proves that, right? History proves that's the case. So like just the amount of times that the US fucking intervened is like in the Middle East or the global South, specifically South America, right? Like the amount of times that we tried to set up regimes, like shit, we did it to Iran, right? Like Mossadegh was a democratically elected leader who literally sought to completely nationalize in complete ownership the oil reserves that exist in Iran. And those had been like this is sort of like a truncation of the history, right? But basically like the British brought they brought a whole bunch of opium to Iran way back in the day, and they got all bunch of Iranians hooked on opium.
Mm.
And then we're like, hey, we're gonna cut you this really sweet deal where we take 90% and you guys take 10%. And the drugged out Iranians at the time, Persians, were basically like, sounds great, man.
Yeah.
Like they just like really just all fucked up, and like they had no position to bargain on. They had no idea what they were dealing with. The second Mossadegh comes along and is like, no, we are going to like he's democratically elected by the people of Iran and decides, no, we're going to nationalize. Fuck you, Brits. This is our oil. And all of a sudden the entire West was like, yo, that ain't chill. We don't like that. So what did the US do? They came in and they fucking executed a coup and put the Shah in. And there's the Q liberalization of Iran, but there was a lot of really horrible bloodshed and death that occurred under the Shah. And there's a reason that the Iranian Revolution happened, right?
Right.
And people forget or maybe don't understand that that was a coalition of people in Iran that that produced that movement, right? And it was a coalition, yes, of sort of like more fundamental Shia strains of their culture, but it was also literally like leftists and communists. And unfortunately for the people of Iran, it was the more religiously motivated section of that revolution that ended up sort of taking the power, and that's how we end up with Khamenei, and then later or Khomeini, and then later Khamenei. So it's there's history there, but they never fucking forgot. They literally never forgot that it was the US that committed that coup and set up the Shah.
Yeah.
And ever since that revolution, they have been preparing to fight us, knowing that we were the most sort of technologically advanced military in the world for all those decades. And so they came up with a very, very specific strategy to mitigate that situation. And there's a very good reason why they are like, yeah, dude, come at us, bro, when it comes to Trump being willing to invade Iran right now. And like,
Right.
look, I'm not even the fucking expert on this. If you guys want to hear from a New Hampshire voice that can actually speak to this, who has a lot more, just like is way better steeped in this than I am, who is literally like the son of an Iranian immigrant, like, and two Iranian immigrants. He is an Iranian American New Hampshire guy. Go check out Arya 4NH.
I was gonna say
Arya number 4NH. Arya's the guy to fucking get this information from. That guy knows his shit. And I cannot recommend people go hear what he has to say. Because he has a very nuanced, balanced take. And it's like,
yeah,
even
there's
within
this whole
his
issue with
own
the
household.
diasporas and you know, in the other countries, more like right-leaning people that, you know, there's all kinds of complications in there that you need that nuance to get thrown in there with like yes,
Right.
it can be like, yes, a population that like can be wrong about what is good for their country, and you kind of just like, you can't give into that temptation to be like, well, you have to listen to these people because they are from there, so you can't have anything to say about the matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
It's good to get
there's
that
also
like
sort of
nuanced
like
perspective.
and let's not forget that like to really snap it back to the now, you've got Trump telling everybody like, oh, you need to go listen to Mark Levin. And what was Mark Levin saying? He was basically saying
No one
he's
wants to
saying,
listen to Mark
you know
Levin.
what you need to do is you need to do Iran Contra 2.0. We
Right.
need to
Because that went so well.
because
let's do the
right
sequel. Come on, guys.
but the argument is basically like, well, everything is so fucking cooked in US politics now anyways, that the scandal that Iran Contra was for Reagan would not be as much of a scandal
Right.
now. You would be able to get away with it because there's so much other insanity happening
Yeah.
that nobody fucking cares anymore, and it would just like
Yeah,
be
we're in the middle of
another, like,
Epstein Fury over here.
yeah, it's like another wash of a week in a fucking like just machine gun fire news cycle. Like, I don't, you know,
Mhm.
like it's, and part of me is like, that's probably not wrong. It's like the analysis of the outcome is probably not wrong. That's true, that it would probably like go over like, you know, just like a fart in the wind at this point. But like, it doesn't make it fucking okay. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah. Man. So what oh
Yeah,
damn,
I mean,
what
I
do
don't
we
know.
have time here? Oh my god. What did you
I
say?
know,
You
I'm
had like
starting
an
to knock
hour?
on
I
it.
mean,
I gotta fucking, I'm probably gonna have to go to bed soon, dude.
Right.
Damn, like you blast through it. But we did at least make it to your fucking headline. And we
Right.
did
We
talk
made it.
about
We made
why
it to the NH
Republicans
Talk
are still
stuff.
insane. So
Yeah, that is true.
yeah,
Yeah, that's always a
yeah,
headline that you can
yeah.
just
I
throw in
mean,
there, honestly.
yeah,
Like they
no,
aren't not
definitely. You're
miraculously
not
cured.
wrong.
Things didn't go back to the way they
But
were
dude,
before, like these fucking establishment Dems want. The fever will break, guys, any
yeah.
day now. Come on now.
But I mean, just to sort of loop it back around to the beginning of the episode, like it's sort of like maybe this is a good closing note to leave on, is like, because we were talking about the Free State Project a lot, and the interesting thing about the Free State Project is its sort of decentralized nature, and what's happening with NH Talk is, in a lot of ways, the sort of more left-wing response to it, right?
Right.
It has the same function, and I've encountered representatives that genuinely are like aware of the growing power that group of activists and sort of like online personalities and whatever, the amount of influence that group has is growing. Those people are in direct talks with progressive candidates for Senate, for U.S. Congress, like U.S. Senate, U.S. Congress, governor,
Yeah,
right? Like these,
like we brought up before,
and then
like
also are
Heath
in direct
Howard.
contact.
Like
Yeah,
he's
exactly. You know,
like I've
like
talked to him a few times, done a couple interviews, and then he's following me. I'm sharing his stuff because he's got a lot of good ideas, and we need like that
yeah,
freaking progressive voice out there.
Heath is awesome. And then like I know for you and I, like I know that we are both in CD2. So as much as we would love to, we can't even vote for Heath, right?
Mm.
If you're looking for the like sort of like what's the mirror of that to push back against Goodlander, right? Paige Boschman is probably the person you want to look to. Paige kicks ass. She's a really good
Yeah,
person. She does a lot of
yes,
good
I've
stuff.
talked to her too.
She has great policy positions, and she's a really nice person. But I mean, to the broader point of like, New Hampshire Talk is essentially, or NH Talk is basically sort of growing into what can potentially be the left-wing response to a Free State Project. And
Right.
what I think is particularly interesting about it is that it doesn't rely on what's functionally colonialism, where you have all of these people that are being imported from out of state to literally colonize the state.
Yeah,
And
literally.
and actually like force their ideology onto other people. Folks forget, like, or maybe aren't aware that we mentioned earlier that essentially the Free State Project has representatives that cover about 1/4 of the state house. They make up around, like, they make up literally less than 0.5% of the state population. So that is a just wildly outsized representation.
Yeah.
And the thing about NH Talk is that it is made up of people that a lot of people that have been here for a long fucking time.
Mhm.
And so that actually has the power to be founded out of a much more traditionally New Hampshire notion
Yes, an
of what
actual
freedom and
grassroots
liberty
thing.
actually are. Right, exactly. And I think I think at this point it's time for us to be pushing things in that direction and to actually demonstrate what real freedom and liberty are. Like,
For sure.
People love to, it's like the sort of the example I always like to use is that people love to talk about, like, oh well, we need private health insurance because you want the freedom to choose, right?
Yeah.
Remind me what that fucking freedom is. You want me to have the freedom to go learn about an entire fucking industry that has a whole bunch of like weird terms and shit that, like, I don't fucking know, dude.
Mhm.
I'm a carpenter. Like, I don't have the fucking
Right.
time
I mean,
to go
and
figure all this
the fact
bullshit
that
out.
they're
You want me
allowed to advertise
sail my whole fucking weekend?
they're allowed to
Like,
advertise like drugs on TV, like ask your doctor about this drug, ask your doctor about this drug. It's
right,
like your
right,
doctor is supposed to be the one that tells you what you should get based on your health, your conditions, all the things. But that's not how this works, unfortunately.
right. And then even to take that even a step further too, right? Because you're absolutely correct. Another leg of that is that you're not even fucking choosing like, you get to choose your doctor anyways. Like, it doesn't fucking matter. What they're advocating for is your choice of health insurance provider.
Right. The middleman, not even the
Right?
doctor.
Like,
They're not
right.
talking
So,
about
like,
health
what the
care.
fuck kind of choice is that? Right. Like, you know what I want? Like, you're talking about my freedom to choose. You know what? I want the freedom to not fucking think about it at all.
Right. Like
That's
every
what I
other,
want. That to me,
industrialized
you want to
country in
give
the
me
world.
liberty. Right. You want to give me liberty over my life? Fucking take this problem off my plate, dude. Let me
Yeah.
focus
Like,
on spending time with my
put
family.
my taxes
Like,
towards
let me
something
focus
that
on, like,
everyone needs.
right. Like,
Like,
fix the fucking potholes in my road, dude. Like, do something, like make sure that the kids in my town are like well read. Like, I don't know, do fucking something else. Like,
right.
it's like, and even, and it's like, look, like, the amount of money that we spend on private health insurance, like, you could take a fraction of that. You could universalize the health insurance industry, or you
Mhm.
could fucking get rid of it entirely and just have it be completely directly subsidized by the government and still be fucking cheap.
Yeah. It's not
It would
like it's gonna
literally cost
kill
less money.
like doctors' jobs. It's not like they're not gonna be able to get paid a bunch. So therefore, like, the markets, oh, we won't be able to pay them as much. Like, that's not even how that works at all. Like, you can
Right.
still,
And
it
then,
still would be like a profession where, like, you get to make a shit ton of money. The only difference is the government would be paying you instead of, all these fucking insurance companies that do nothing but get in the middle of your fucking you and your doctor.
Yeah, it literally prevent you from getting treatment that your doctor is trying to give you.
Yeah.
Right? Like your doctor
Like,
can
literally.
literally say like, okay, I want to do this treatment with you. And then your health insurance providers say, oh no, we don't want to cover that because
Like, no,
of
try an
XYZ
alternative.
reasons, and you need to prove, all this other bullshit. It's like, dude, who fucking cares? To further that point, like when it comes to paying it, like, dude, do you think I want to go pay another fucking bill? You know what I would love is look, if I have to fucking pay my taxes anyways, right? We all have to pay our fucking taxes. You know what people love is they love consolidating their bills, right? So this is something like financial advisors will tell you. They're like, you know what? Get a credit card. You got all those auto payments.
Right.
You put all those auto payments onto a credit card. You pay then, and you just have them auto withdraw, and then every month you just pay one bill, right? So everybody likes that idea, right? Everybody says that's a wise financial decision. Let me tell you how the best way to deal with that. Taxes do that. Taxes are literally that. What's a great consolidator of different bills? The fucking IRS.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then to go a step further from that, if you are a W-2 employee, right? We'll set aside 1099 for a second, because obviously you have to pay your tax bill, you have to pay it quarterly, whatever, right? Like that's a thing that has to happen. But if you are a W-2 employee, your employer is already withdrawing money, right, from your paycheck. So by the time you get that money, it's gone. You just see what hits your bank account, right? Like, unless you're like spending time grilling your fucking pay stub.
Right.
So at that point, it's like, dude, yeah, if I'm paying for my health insurance there too, fucking money.
Right.
Great. You just saved me so much time and effort, dude.
Yeah, there's really like not a sane argument against universal health care that like makes sense to anyone besides like profiteers. Like, honestly. Like
Yeah.
it just really doesn't. It's just like simple as that to me. I just don't understand, like, besides like, being able to hustle people over their, conditions that have nothing to do with the things that they choose, then like, what the hell? Like, yeah.
It's insane. Yeah.
Yep.
But hey, fuck poor people, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Should have been born rich, dumbass.
Exactly.
Well, hell yeah.
Sorry you didn't have a silver spoon in your mouth, cocksucker.
That's what you get. God damn it. Well, yeah, it was great having you on, and
Dude,
I guess
really
I'll
nice to
let
be here,
you.
pal. Thank you so much for having me.
I'll let you get to bed, I guess. All right. Well, yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
joining us.
Sleep's overrated, dude.
Shout
Cheers. Thank
out
you
your
so much,
channels
man.
before you leave.
Oh,
Where are you
yeah,
at? Where can everyone find you?
totally. Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube. It's at locally sourced. So just youtube.com/@locally-sourced. If you're on TikTok or Instagram, I'm pretty sure the handle is locally sourced NH. The TikTok has a lot more of my sort of like off the cuff hot takes. So you can,
Nice.
if you're a short form consumer, that's probably the place to do it. But yeah, I do longer form interviews on YouTube. And that stuff is really good. If you're watching it and you like it and you want to support it, there's a Patreon. Also, it's just patreon.com/locally sourced. I keep those, the subscriptions are low. You know what I mean? A lot of times I'll put the interviews up maybe 2 days ahead of time, but like you can get a membership for free. I don't like to paywall stuff. I despise paywalling.
Just
So
that
I
extra
really
support.
try to make sure that it's just a little extra support. Like, I don't take ad money. I don't take, like sponsors. I don't do any of that shit because I'd rather stay editorial independent.
Yeah, I hear that, and that's kind of what I've like started this channel with, like, in mind as well. So yeah, I hear you there. We got to crowdsource this shit. We the people, all that. Fuck these corporate sponsors.
Exactly.
Except for like if like
Fuck 'em,
Hello
dude.
Tushy wants to hit us up or something, well, something like that.
Yo, they want
Maybe
to send me a
some-
free bidet. I'm fucking down,
Yeah,
dude. Let's go.
for real. Or some Just Coffee. I don't know, man. Those Majority Report guys have found some pretty cool sponsors. But until the day
Dude,
some
I
people
will
like
say-
them reach out.
Dude, I did buy one of those Henson razors. Let me fucking tell you
Oof.
how good that shit is, dude. That
Is
is
it?
like, if you,
It's not a
dude,
Dollar
it
Shave Club
is
ripoff?
sick. No, dude, it's so much better. It's so much fucking better. I can't
Oh.
even describe, dude. I haven't spent a penny on razors in the past
Damn.
year after I bought that shit, dude.
Dude, get
It's
this
like,
man a
it's
check
great,
right
and it's a
fuck now. Henson razors. Come on now.
yeah, dude, the Henson razors are money. That's a fucking good product. I highly,
Hell yeah.
highly suggest it. So,
All right, just pay this man
anyways,
now, everyone. By the way, last thing, I just gotta say, congrats on getting fucking locally sourced as like an actual handle. Like, how the fuck was that not taken?
dog, I have no fucking idea. I have no idea.
Like
and
in
I'm
2 different
thankful for it
places?
every single fucking day.
Like, that's
I
wild.
yeah, on Patreon and YouTube, the fact that I managed to fucking lock those down, I remember when the day I went to set up the accounts, I was like, no fucking way, this is available, dude. What's
What?
up? I was pretty stoked. Yeah, that was good shit.
Yeah, for real.
You'd think it would have gone like hotcakes, but you know, that somehow it slid under the radar.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, I had to put my
I'm the
handle as
one that
like
landed it.
Kyle, like FTS on Twitter or whatever the fuck. Whenever I made that, I don't even use that shit. I just open
Yeah.
it for getting news or whatever out of people.
Right.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I'm cooked when it came to Twitter. It was all gone for Twitter, and then I had to fucking figure something else out. But it's
At this point, I just
but
open
yeah,
Blue
so
Sky
there's
and it's like, oh, there's the news right there.
oh yeah, yeah, Blue Sky. Oh. That's a topic for another fucking episode.
Oh man.
We'll do it again, dude.
Sounds good. Hell yeah. Again, thanks for coming on. Thank you everybody for watching. We'll be back. I think I might be changing from Wednesdays because there's another thing that I have to go do on Wednesdays. A little community comedy night that's pretty freaking sick. A town
Ooh.
over. But
Yeah, buddy.
But we'll be figuring
Yeah,
out
gotta get it.
our schedule. We got Our Real Convos on tomorrow on that channel, so everybody check that out. But I'll be posting when the weekly live for this channel will be at some point this coming week. So everybody keep your eyes fucking peeled. Probably have Arya on at some point. Everybody
Cheers.
else on NH Talk. I want all you people on
Oh,
here.
dude, they're hungry for it. Bring them in, dude.
Hell yeah.
You got to get the whole squad through.
Right.
Yeah, it's good.
Like
people.
let's get this all set up. Let's go. All right, peace out,
Awesome.
everybody.
Yeah, dude, you're in it now. Take
Hell
care,
yeah.
guys.
See ya.